I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson.
And I'm Jason Inman.
And this is Greywind, who will be here all season but offering no commentary whatsoever. And we're here to give you a review and recap of Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 1, The Red Woman.
I'm not a red woman.
You're wearing red.
Oh. Now, quick warning, there will be full spoilers about this episode. Let's start where the episode began. It actually began where the end of Season 5 ended, with the death of Jon Snow. Davos seeing the body of Jon Snow. How do you feel about the resolution of that?
I don't feel like there was really any resolution, if I'm going to be completely honest.
Okay.
That storyline really only progressed forward a couple of hours. I liked it because I really enjoy the actor who's playing Davos. I like him a lot better in the show than I like the character in the book. There are some inklings based on some appearances on set where you can kind of predict where the storyline is going to go, and I felt that was a little unfulfilled in this particular episode.
You didn't like how Thorne, the guy who has been against him since Season 1, plotted against him and was like, he was going to bring down the Night's Watch.
I mean, it was probably cool in like BCE when, Julius Caesar's buddies did it to him. But no, I just like, Thorne, you're supposed to hate him. I hate him. The actor's doing a great job. But less of him would be good.
I like Davos bringing up the moment that he's like, we're going to need the wolf.
Yes, but I go and get Ghost.
Does the wolf like you? Yeah, we're going to need the wolf. And then the other guy's going to get the wildlings. So, like, how interesting this could be that the wildlings become the true Night Watch. How crazy would that be?
And the wild animal is one of their greatest allies.
All right, then let's hop just a little bit further down to south, talk about Winterfell.
Poor Winterfell.
Sansa and Reek are on the run.
Yes!
Okay.
This was my favorite storyline in this episode.
Really? Why was your favorite? Because all they did was sit in a tree.
Because I love Theon Greyjoy. That's why
He's
I'm
not,
a
Reek.
I'm the only person in the entire world who cares about him. And you can kind of tell, and we talked about this when we watched the episode, that Sansa is his absolution and his repayment to his betrayal of Jon and Robb and ultimately Ned Stark. And I think
he didn't really betray Jon, but I get your point.
But sort of by association. Yeah. And the seed of what is going to happen with him and Sansa and Brienne and Podrick, I think is so interesting. And also, I've never been super interested in Sansa. And for me, this is a really interesting turning point for her character.
I like the scene where Brienne kneeled down and pledged her life again. And it's weird because you think about last season, we saw the exact same scene, except that time Sansa was like, get out of here, lady.
Yeah, in the season before that, we saw the same scene, but she did that to Catelyn, her mom. So it's kind of an interesting, like she's repeated it 3 times, and maybe this time it'll finally take.
Then inside Winterfell, we learned that, all of Stannis' troops basically were killed. Yeah. We are assuming that Stannis is dead.
But you don't see it.
We didn't see it. So I wonder, did Brienne save him? I think she did. I think Stannis is still alive.
You think she was greater and she showed mercy?
Yes, I think she just walked away and was like, die in the dirt.
Yeah.
As I read her lines for her. What do we think about Lord Bolton and Ramsay and Lord Bolton threatening about that? So it seems like he's going to go against the crown with the armies of the north. And he's like, hey, man, this tired Stannis army ain't nothing like a Lannister army, and if you don't pull it off, well, I got another baby in the oven.
Yeah, I think you can definitely tell a lot about Bolton from this episode. He's always been self-serving, but this really cements that he has no interest in the betterment. He's not even trying to hide it on the idea that
straight up power.
Yeah, and personal power. Like, I'm trying to do this for the Seven Kingdoms. No, he just wants himself. He ultimately wants to place himself in that seat of power. And kind of like father, like son, they do an interesting beat with the dog keeper's girl, where they kind of fold up her storyline, and you almost think that Ramsay's having this nice, beautiful moment, and then he's like, feed her to the dogs. So I just think for me that was kind of cementing that they're both really just jerky jerks.
They are jerky jerks. Now let's move on down to King's Landing. Cersei finds out that Myrcella? Myrcella.
Yes.
She's dead. Her daughter's dead. She knew that Jaime was her dad, and then Jaime's like, don't you worry, sister. We can have plenty of fun times back behind the church, and I'm going to kill everybody that took everything from us.
And they use a lot of curse words. I like Cersei's new haircut. That's really, really cool.
This didn't do much for me.
It didn't, for me either. They're trying, and then they always take 3 steps backward with her character. Like, Jaime, I can empathize with. Cersei, it's pretty hard.
But on the flip side of the sea, we go to Dorne, and we see Doran, played by Sadig El Fadil. he gets killed by Elisaria. And it sort of seems like Dorne is being taken over by the powerful women. What do you, as a woman, you are a woman, right?
Last time I checked.
Okay.
Hang on. I think so.
Okay. As a woman, as a powerful woman yourself,
thank you.
What do you think about the powerful women taking over Dorne?
I really like the idea in theory. I don't love any of the sand snakes.
I thought it was awesome.
I don't know,
you get
man.
Out of here.
Like, I really like Sid. He's a great actor.
I thought this introduced a completely different turn that I didn't see coming. That the women being in control of Dorne, this could lead to a fight between King's Landing and Dorne that weakens King's Landing so much.
Yeah.
That by the time Daenerys or the zombies or Ned Stark from the grave comes back, that King's Landing will be like rice pudding, no problem.
I just think it's a really interesting idea that we could have Arya becoming a powerful figure in Bravos. We could have
Sansa.
We could have the Sand Snakes taking over Dorne. We could have Sansa uniting the North. We could have Cersei at King's Landing. Like we could have
Daenerys.
we could have Daenerys coming over from Marine. There is a chance that the battle for the Seven Kingdoms is going to be between
women.
5 powerful women.
It could be 5 powerful women and a bastard that is leading a zombie army.
Yes. We'll see what happens with it. But the implication of that is really interesting. I just want to like them more than I like them.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, speaking of people that we really like, let's talk about Varys. Varys and Tyrion.
Varys with
over
his...
in Meereen. Now, Tyrion has been left the city. He has to rule it himself. And Varys is probably the only person he can trust. And they walk out to the harbor, and they find out that all the ships are burning.
Yep.
And he's like, well, looks like we're not going to Westeros anytime soon. I think this is very interesting because I wonder, now either the ships have to come from somebody else, Dorne possibly, Bravos possibly.
Ooh, that would be so interesting
Yep.
if Dorne and Meereen and Bravos all kind of unite against Westeros.
And take over Westeros.
Yeah.
Or does this mean that a whole army's not going to be able to go to Westeros? It's just going to be a lady and her dragon.
And whoever she can convince to ride on the back of Tyrion's going to be riding on a dragon.
Maybe you could put a big it could put a big hitch in her plans.
Yeah.
Because then it now means that she has to build her army in Westeros, not
that's
here.
so interesting because you can't bring, even if she
can't bring the Dothraki.
Exactly.
Dothraki.
Yeah, exactly. I love everything with those two characters. They're so great together, and they're so interesting
They have great
as
chemistry.
allies.
Great chemistry.
I mean, Peter Dinklage for all the things. It was great. There was a really interesting moment where his Valyrian is really crappy, and he's trying to give the woman money. And,
I will eat your
and
baby.
he's like, she thinks you want to eat her baby. Like that. It's the only moment of comic relief that you get, and it shouldn't be a funny moment, but they play it in such an interesting way.
They do a good job.
It's the best.
Now let's talk about the Dothraki. And we met not as cool as Jason Momoa, Khal Moro.
Yes.
And he tells her, he's like, look, Khal Widow. I don't know if you know this, but you got to go back to the Khaleesi old folks retirement home.
Yeah.
And we're gonna take you there, and you're kind of pissing me off that you're not there already.
Yeah.
You know. That's an interesting hitch in her step. And so now her battle is going to have to be convincing the Khal that she's worth something.
Well, and that she's the one to unite the giant Khalasar.
What did you think about Khal Moro and his tribe?
I thought he was fine. I mean, they're kind of your standard Dothraki people. I like Daenerys best when she's with the Dothraki. I don't really like her when she's governing in Meereen, so I'm interested to see what is going to happen from this point forward. Of course, the dragons are going to show up, and that's going to force them to respect her. But if we see her traveling with them and they're trying to force her to follow their traditions, and she's like, you should respect me under your traditions, that's a really interesting kind of hypocritical thing that they're both playing. I think it's the most interesting thing Daenerys has done in a long time.
And then finally we get to old blind Arya. Arya, who's been punished by the faithless gods. She's now blind, and she gets smacked with a stick a lot.
Yeah, she does.
And then her trainer is like, I'll see you tomorrow. So she's going to have to learn how to fight blind.
It's cool.
Thoughts about Arya?
If Arya turns into Daredevil, I'm there. It's going to be great.
Well, she was sort of in a hallway.
Yeah.
Made out of
There were
marbles.
steps.
Marbles. Overall, what did you think of this episode, The Red Woman? Like, what would you say about this episode? Did you like it, hate it? What do you think?
Overall, I think for a premiere of the new season, I think it was a little bit disappointing. Game of Thrones every once in a while falls into this thing where they have so much going on that nothing happens. And for me, that's what this felt like.
Yes.
There were some scenes that I thought were really powerful, but as an episode, I thought it was pretty lacking.
This is a setup episode, I felt.
Yes.
I don't know if that was a strong choice
to start off
for the
with.
Premiere, because I was actually kind of excited. Like, there were a lot of great setups. I was like, okay, this is gonna be cool. Like, we could see Mr. Jon Snow come back from the dead immediately.
Yep.
We could see Khaleesi unite the Dothraki immediately. Like, we could see all this stuff
cool.
because we're on a countdown towards the final episode now.
Yes,
we have 3 seasons left.
Yep.
And there are not that many episodes left.
Nope.
So it's like stuff has got to start trucking right now. And for me to do the setup episode as your premiere was a little disappointing.
Right. You could have it a little later on, or you could just not have a setup episode. You could just do stuff.
Yeah, you could just...
We have less than 30 episodes
You could totally
left.
do. So out of a scale of 1 to 5 direwolves, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst, what would you rate this episode?
I would rate this episode 2 direwolves because there were 2 scenes that I thought were really cool.
I'm going to give it a 3, simply with the thought that the one thing that we didn't discuss, Melisandre
Yes.
revealing her true wicked old self.
Her true wicked nudity.
And we watched the extra features that was after this episode HBO offered, and they said that they had been dropping hints for episodes that Melisandre was several hundred years old. They said George R. R. Martin told her that too. I never picked up on that. I'm an idiot, I guess. And I thought it was interesting. I don't know. I kind of get the idea that she feels that she's betrayed by the Lord of Light.
Yes.
So I guess she's just going to go sleep? I don't know.
She's going to hibernate for a while. It'll
All
be
right.
fine.
Cool. There you go. All right, so let's give some predictions for what we think is going to happen in next week's episode. Ashley, what do you think, or what are we going to see in next week's episode?
I think in next week's episode, we are going to see Sansa declaring herself some kind of monarch. Maybe not Queen of the North, but you're going to see her...
Lady of the Snow?
Sure, cool, totally. We're going to see her start that movement, and I think we're going to have Theon becoming her hand. That is what I think, a reek. That's what I think is going to happen in next week's episode.
Interesting.
How about you? What do you think is going to happen?
I'm going to predict that Jon Snow is going to come back from the dead next episode. Davos is going to be his hand of the king, with Melisandre being his Merlin.
Ooh, ew.
So they could be like, Jon Snow, you're a White Walker. And she's like, zap, zap, zap. And they're like, oh, she's a witch.
She'll be like this crazy Grand Maester. That'd be cool.
Yep. And Davos will be like, never betray a red woman. Ah.
And he's like, I only have 3 fingers.
Yeah, so there you go. Guys, let us know down in the comments what you think. Who do you think is right in terms of predictions of what we're going to see next episode? Do you think Ashley's right or Jason is right? I want you to tell us right below. Say Ashley's right, Jason's right. Let us know. Guys, don't forget that you can support all the recaps that we do on this channel. We do all kinds. Legends is going to finish up. All other stuff. Geek History Lesson videos at patreon.com/Jawin. And you can click that right there to support us and get all kinds of extra features. I'm Jason Inman.
I am Ashley Victoria Robinson.
That's a direwolf. And don't forget to click subscribe. And goodbye, good night, sweet rest, Rose.